Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm your host and friend Uttam Chaudhary, and you have started to watch my channel Excel to Excellence. In the series of Excel Quick Bites, today we are going to cover how to unpivot existing reports using Power Query. Now, these are something, so basically, let me give you an example. if you if you look at these reports, these are pretty much the report that probably sometimes somebody in your organization will paste it on the email and send it to you. They'll never give you an Excel file, and somebody else may ask a different slice and dice of the report. And well, you keep thinking that, oh, this is too much of a job just to kind of unpivot or reorganize the data in the way it is expected. So these are some of the samples that you may receive on an email as a paste, as a direct, the table is being pasted on an email, or people may organize the data in such a way that it's been manually done, but you do not have clue how to unpivot the data or reorganize in a way so that you can draw dynamic pivots again and give a different set of slice and dice. So in this particular video, we are going to take you through how we can unpivot the existing reports. But before that, please go ahead and subscribe my channel. Do like my videos, send your comments, and do not forget to click on the bell icon so that as soon as there is a video, as soon as I drop any video, you do not miss anything. Thank you so much. So before we get started with unpivoting the data, let's understand this sheet a little bit. So this is a kind of report which is a static report, which probably has been sent by your maybe your boss or some of your colleague in order to look at the data, and then your boss says, hey, can you give me sales of all the region for January, or can you give me well, the data in a different slice? So what would then happen is, in this case, you would really struggle to see, or it'll be too much of a manual work to put the data back into the unpivoted form. And this is where this unpivot option really comes handy. Now if you look here, this data has been diced up very nicely, but if you want to look at different views of this, it's really impossible and very big humongous task to kind of do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly go ahead and open Power Query and see how we can actually unpivot this data. So for that, I'll go to Data tab and I would go from table range. Now, as soon as I do that, it tries to convert into the official table format of Excel, and it opens the Power Query. It is taking some time to load. Let it show up. Wow, there we go. Now, if you look here, it is exactly the way that you have seen into the previous report. Really, if you see here, this is exactly the way it is shown up on this query. Now what I'm going to do is I have to do some cleanup before I convert this into or unpivot this information. And what am I supposed to do? So here's the thing, that I need to first take out all the totals, because we don't need totals. Totals are something that pivot can automatically generate. So I'm least bothered with total. So I'm going to go ahead and take out this grand total, north total, south total, west total. I do not need any of these. I'll go ahead and make the data as is. Now if you see the grand total here, this is also not required because obviously my pivot can take care of that later. So now we have this data. Now, if you see here that this is actually the data for east, but since it was these cells were empty, it is filled in with null. How do we take care? We have to get the east filled in into all of these, north into all of these, to ensure that the data is in the right way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select this, and I'll go here and I'll say fill down. Now if I, as soon as I do this, if you notice, it has filled down east, it has filled down north, south, and west. So we know that this part is taken care of already. Now, what do we next do? So in order to make sure that our data is correct and we don't miss out anything, you would see that there are some null values here, which means there was nothing in here, there was zeros, or it was an empty cell, and because of which the Power Query has taken it as null. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select these columns, and I would go say replace values. And what I'm going to do it with, so all the nulls can be taken it as 0. So I would write null here without any quotes because this is how it identifies, and I would replace it with 0. So as soon as I do this, you see all the zeros coming through. Now, next thing, what am I supposed to do? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select these two fields and let this blue, green, red, and silver be on the top. I'm not too bothered about that. And what I'm going to do is there's something called unpivot column, and I want to unpivot the other columns. These are the ones which are less in number, so it's easy for me to select these two versus the 4 columns here. So I would go ahead and select these, and I'll say unpivot other columns. As soon as I click on this, you see the magic, what really happens. You see that the data has been all lined up the way you expect a normal raw data should be. And under east January blue, and then you have the value, and under east January green, you have the value. So likewise it has been sorted in such a way that it is mostly in the unpivoted raw form. The only caveat here is that since we do not have any columns containing 0 values, so I would go ahead and remove 0 from in here, because these are non-qualifying values or non-qualifying lines. So after doing this, what I'm going to do is, this is all done now. I'm going to go ahead and say close and load. As soon as I do a close and load, you would see that it goes into another tab. It's taking a bit of time. Let's wait for it and see what it does. It brings up the value here. Now, let's match up whether the total aggregates from the main report. So if you look here, the total is 26,356, as well as in the sheet. Let me select this whole thing and see if it 26,356. So basically, if you see from an existing report, you have been able to convert the data into unpivoted raw form. So now if I have to kind of work on this data in a way where I would want to create a different view or a different slice in terms of now say if as in this report, if somebody asks me what is the sales for January for all the locations together, I would struggle to do that. But in this case, I can easily go and create the pivot, and now I can easily put the months on here and the value in here. So now it is so easy to be able to create the pivot and know the value. Now if I go back into our main report, if I select January in here and then in here in south and as well as in the west, it adds up to 2574. And if I go into the pivot, it exactly brings out 2574. So basically, what we have been able to do is to be able to bring the value in, bring the table into the original and the raw form of data, so that if I have to now go ahead and do multiple slicing and dicing of the data, it becomes damn easy for me to be able to do that, right? So I hope this video was helpful. Do let me know with your comments. Please do like the video, and obviously do not forget to subscribe my channel and click on the bell icon so that as soon as I drop any new video, you do not miss anything. Thank you so much.